Who is your daddy? I am your father.
You fathers will understand.
My father taught me many things.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?
All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into this episode then. We'll talk about this, and I do want to talk about Mortal Kombat 11, but it's been a little while since we recorded. Listen, I'm sorry. It's just been tough. We've got families. It's just tough. So I won't make any excuses for it. We're recording now. Let's catch up. I want to talk right away about...
Yeah, I want to say this real quick. We both really do care. At least I'll speak for me. I still really care about the show. It's just everything's gotten crazy where it's like we'll text each other and be like, hey, you want to record tonight? Yeah. And we'll be set, and then something happens and we can't do it. Like one of us can't do it. So
that's what's been happening. But here we are now to talk video games, much to our family's delight. Oh, yeah. So listen, let's talk about Katana Zero before we get into stuff like MK11. So Katana Zero is a side-scrolling game. It was announced a little bit ago, probably for a Nintendo Nindy Direct or whatever. And it's one of those games that I knew, like, oh, I might be interested in it if it gets good reviews, but I don't know. And I knew this is not a Derek game, right? This is not a Teague game, for the most part. And then the reviews came back really, really positive. So I went out and, of course, bought it right away after I read about it. Still thought, I don't know about Derek. I'm not sure if this is his kind of game. Mm-hmm. So are there some similarities to something like Dead Cells? Kind of. Here's where the similarities are. The old school animation looks so modern that the animation is actually pretty good, even though it's kind of pixelated. I think you'd have to acknowledge, like, the animation is not that bad. The storyline and the violence is very, very mature. Mm-hmm. And it's a side-scrolling game, so it's a side-scrolling action game. But that's kind of where the Dead Cells comparisons, in my opinion, for the most part, end. The game is very fast-paced. One hit and you're dead. You get to quickly reset and do it over and over and over and over again until you get it right. Mm-hmm. And it gets increasingly difficult. I mean, it starts out very easy. 2-3 enemies, and you can bust through a door. They make it very easy for you. But then it becomes so tough where it's like they make you drop down the middle of a room with one throwable object and guys with guns all around you, and you better do it perfectly or they're going to get you. It's not the kind of game where you upgrade a whole bunch of abilities and now you jump in and you can just crush. They do kind of unlock, in some ways, they teach you a new way to do a new move, but for the most part, you're not upgrading stuff. It's not an RPG. I would much more liken it to Hotline Miami, and it is put out by Devolver, just like Hotline Miami is. Mm-hmm. And at least it's published by Devolver. And the way I would describe it is a side-scrolling Hotline Miami. That's how I would describe it. It looks way better. I think the way they do the story in between is actually kind of interesting. You're some kind of a drug-induced assassin who's being controlled by your therapist, and it's kind of an intriguing what's going on and why do I keep wanting my medicine. You have the option, you'll like this, Derek, actually, every time that there's a dialogue option in the cutscenes, you can there's a little timer at the bottom that you can interrupt them with some kind of rude, I don't care, just let me get my medicine, like what, you don't have to participate, or you can be patient and give them a reasoned response. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So for the gamer who just wants to skip all that stuff, you totally can, but it will actually affect the story. The guy starts to get really mad at you. So anyway, I thought it was kind of interesting the way they did that. But the game plays very much like here's your level layout, and jump in there, use anything you can in the environment to quickly dispatch the enemies. Some of them are killed with one hit. Many of them are not. So it just depends. Again, very much like Hotline Miami. You might have to hit them from an angle or something like that.
And you can only take one hit the entire time?
You can only take one hit every stage section, which reminds me a lot of Hotline Miami. So you clear that whole level, that whole floor, basically, and then it'll say go with a little arrow, and you move to the next section, and you kind of scope it out, see where enemies are, where your items are that you can pick up and quickly throw at them. Is there any smoke that you can... Is there some kind of pipe nearby that looks like it's hittable? And if you can hit that, it'll fill it up with smoke, and then the guys with guns can't see you. Things like that. You got to kind of map out.
See, I think I'll like it, but I think I'll like it like I like Dead Cells. And that is, I like Dead Cells for like the first 4 or 5 hours, if I even made it that far. I think I did. And then I never wanted to touch it again because I was like, I'm not going to beat it, and it's just repeating itself, and I'm over it. So I think I would like Katana Zero. I've watched some videos on it. I think I would like it for less. I would like it for about an hour.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, okay, I'm not any good at this game, and it's just doing the same thing over and over. Bye.
Yeah, it is very similar, and it gets progressively difficult. I would say the difficulty spikes pretty quick. I don't think it's a very long game.
See, I think my problem is I don't have patience anymore, and I think Sekiro kind of showed me that. I don't have, not that I was ever a patient guy, I'm not, but let me say this. I don't have patience, and I don't have that drive that I had as a gamer before where I was like, I have to beat this. Like, I don't even feel like I have to beat Sekiro. Like, I don't feel like I have to prove it to anybody. I actually think that I could beat that game if I invest time into it. I just don't have that drive anymore. I don't care to impress anybody or even myself. And that's probably why I choose now to just move on from game to game and not care. Like, people still talk about backlogs. Like, I have this huge backlog. So do I. I just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
It's just not important. So I know I'm deviating, but my point is I think Katana Zero is actually a game that in the past, I would have told you it's trash. But in the past, but not past, I would buy this game and like it for an hour.
You have the best words. Your words are the best words.
In the present, where I'm at right now, going into the future, I don't have the patience. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna waste my time. I'll buy it when it's like $3 or when it's free. And when it's free, I won't play it at all. See, I have to pay for my games to play it. If they ever go free and I never get to them, I'm like, no.
Yeah, PS Plus and games with gold, like, you'll look to see what they are. You might even download them, but you're not going to play them.
Same thing with Game Pass. People are like, oh, Game Pass is getting this. I'm like, if I'm not paying, like Just Cause 4, you would think I would be like, well, let me at least try it out. No,
yeah.
I don't care.
No, by the way, Game Pass, they keep adding pretty intriguing games to that list. That's a pretty good value.
It is, but the only game I played from it was Crackdown 3, and I only played probably 2 hours.
Crackdown 3 was fun. Crackdown 3 was pretty fun.
I just didn't beat it or anything. I did play Mutant Zero. I forgot Mutant something, which I think is an incredible game, actually. And I mean,
they've got some stuff on there that you could really pour some time into. They've got some really in-depth, long RPGs, especially if you haven't played them. And it's got the very few, I understand, Microsoft exclusives that usually come out on that too, which is cool. So
I would say Katana Zero looks cool.
As far as visually, I would compare it to something in terms of like, it's pixelated, but it still looks new.
It's not my look, but
it's
the
not
reason I say it looks cool is I think it looks cool.
I hear you. It's not quite to where Dead Cells looked really slick, even though it was pixelated. Dead Cells was a really sleek looking game, I thought, and it ran really smoothly. I would put this somewhere between the Dead Cells animation quality and something like Owlboy, which I know you didn't play, but although Owlboy looked like an older game, it was clearly animated with new technology, and it kind of, as you watch the game up close, you could tell this is modern visual here. And so it's somewhere in that realm of where the animation looks really cool. But then, of course, dude, there's just blood everywhere. What I like is, let's say that you decide to jump from a level below an enemy, jump up and slice up, then the blood splatter just goes right up the wall in the direction that you were swinging. Little touches like that really make you feel like you're this ninja on a rampage, basically. Yeah. So they do some cool stuff like that, and it certainly is bloody, and there's lots of F-bombs being typed out along the bottom, stuff like this. Some pretty funny moments too, actually, if you decide to pay attention to what's being said. Anyway, it's an interesting game. I think it's worth $15. I think that's all it costs. So if you're interested in that, and it is challenging, if you like Hotline Miami, go get it. If you do like Dead Cells a lot, I've said it before and I'll say it again, go play Sundered. If people like Dead Cells, Sundered is a gorgeous game. Actually, the visuals, in my opinion, are better than Dead Cells.
Tim texted me and said, oh, I'm going to talk about Katana Zero. So I was already angry about that. And then he's like, and I'm going to bring up Sundered again.
I am.
Can we stop talking about Sundered?
No, we can't. We're not going to stop, okay? We're going to continue. It's the same people who made that game Jotun, that kind of like I want to say it's like a 3/4 view, isometric
Tim,
view.
you're the
Right?
reason we have 12 listeners.
Shut
Like
up.
we would have like 15
No.
if you would stop talking about like Sundered
Now,
and Katana Zero.
I will
and
say this,
stupid
Derek.
crap.
If it were just you talking to the screen, just directly to the ladies, we would have a very different listener set. That I agree with. But if we want to talk about more video games than just bro shooters, then we need me. Okay, we need me here.
Okay. All right. All right.
So Sundered is a overlooked,
Oh my God, you
criminally
went back to
overlooked.
Sundered.
Yeah, it's a criminally overlooked game. It's a procedurally generated, like Dead Cells. Although you generally go in the same direction to get different places. There's great boss fights. Derek, you would like this game because unlike Dead Cells, which I think made the upgrades hard to get to, Sundered actually gives you there's a huge upgrade tree. It kind of reminds me of the Final Fantasy X grid system. I think it was 10 that had the grid. And anyway, where there's tons of stuff to upgrade. If you just have a few shards to work with, which are pretty much your XP or your ability points you can spend, then you can at least upgrade.
Sundered.
You can at least upgrade some health or some damage here or there. The enemies look great. It's all this hand-drawn but really beautifully animated stuff. It does not look like an old pixelated game. Like the art's really, really good. Forget about the story. Who cares? But you have the option, and I think, Derek, you'll like this. Every time you upgrade a new move, and there's a whole bunch of new moves to unlock, you can decide if you want to take one of these Elder Shards, which are these dark black and purple shards, back to where you first got your move and allow the evil presence in this giant dungeon to make you more powerful, but you're also giving him power and you're kind of making yourself evil, or you keep the good version and you can kind of have a good ending. So it has a couple different ways where if you want to be the good guy, you don't give him the power, or if you want to be a little stronger, I want my shield not just to protect me, I want it to hurt enemies to try to hit me, stuff like that. The bad guy, who is essentially kind of guiding you on your quest, he will upgrade it for you in a dark way. So I think it's a fantastic game. I don't know why this game got so overlooked especially by the outlets that tend to shower usually too much praise on little indie games. This game is super in-depth. It's got a ton to explore. It's procedurally generated, so every time you travel through it, it's going to be a little bit different. The enemies get really tough, but they added some stuff. They added a bunch of new challenges on the Switch version, at least, and I think they added it to PS4 and Xbox versions as well. The Xbox version just came out. And there's a bunch of challenges you can do. They added easy mode, Derek. There's an easy mode, so it doesn't have to be that hard of a game. So I'll stop talking about it. I'll recommend it one last time. Go play it. It's really, really good. Okay. I
do own it in Steam.
Okay.
I think it was part of like one of my humble bundles.
Oh, okay.
Because there's no way I would buy this game.
It's really, really good. I even think you'll look at it and say, wow, the visuals actually aren't that bad either for a side scroller.
That's actually what I was thinking. Which, I mean, clearly I'm changing because this is pissing me off. Like, I'm not getting angry. I'm angry that you're talking about this game, but I'm not getting angry that these games are being considered good. Like, I'm not yelling that they're trash. All right, so let's talk about something that's not trash.
Let's talk about Mortal Kombat 11. In just a minute, I do want to say that I pretty much finished Division 2. I really
I do.
Division
I want to talk
2.
about games I completed too, because I completed 2 games this week, which is like huge for me.
You did?
I just don't even.
All right, well, let me just quickly
either.
touch on Division 2. I won't go too far into it because we've talked about it enough. But I highly recommend Division 2. It's a really high quality game. It's a lot of fun. Even teaming up with randoms has been fun. It's not usually a problem. They're usually after the same thing you are, and you can queue for matchmaking for any mission, whether it's an upcoming mission of yours or a previous mission that you don't mind running again. Because again, of course, the loot can be fantastic. If you group up with people, the difficulty and sometimes even number of bosses increases. And then once you hit level 30 and you complete the main story, then a whole new level of things happens. That's not that big of a spoiler. Let's just say that everything you've kind of done, there's a new faction that comes to town and they change the game again. And now there's these AI controlled factions that are constantly battling each other, taking over control points and battling you all at the same time. So then it becomes a more living, breathing world of control points being lost and stuff like that. And then it essentially just ups the stakes. All the missions become much tougher. You've got a new enemy to take down. And they try to inject story, but this is one case where I'm with Derek. Who cares about the story? It's post-apocalyptic Washington, D.C., and you're killing bad guys. Cool. That's all I care about. But dude, it's a ton of fun, and they give you some specializations to upgrade. So once you hit level 30, now you can specialize in certain weapon types, and you get new outfits. And I think, in my experience at least, which is limited in the Division series, I think they upped the ante for the end game. I think there's a lot of good stuff to do there. Don't know that I'll keep playing it a ton more because there's other stuff I want to play, but I think it's more than worth the $60 that you currently, I think, have to pay for it. But if you get it on sale, you're going to get yourself a high quality third-person cover-based shooter that's easy to jump in and out of online matches, but you can solo most of it. You can enjoy it as a single-player game the entire way through if you want to. So I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun.
So I take it you liked it more than Anthem.
I did. Yes, I did. Okay. I fell off of Anthem after a little while, as we talked about. I loved it at first. I was hooked, but then quickly that dried up as I realized, wow, there's not a lot of variety here.
Not a lot of variety, and the gameplay just got...
It did get old. Whereas with Division 2, there's so many, and you have all these different loadouts that you can choose to go between. I mean, I really, really enjoyed it. There's really no stealth element to it. The only stealth element is to get into a position that you like and then get the jump on them. But for the most part, it's just open fire and throw everything you got at all the enemies, and it's fun. I really had fun with Division 2, so I highly recommend it. So what did you finish this week?
Okay, so I finally finished Devil May Cry 5.
Oh, nice.
I actually finished that last night waiting for you to log on, but you ghosted me.
You're welcome.
You totally ghosted me.
Didn't mean to.
Yeah, I was like, hey, Tim, you want to record? He's like, yeah, I can't right now, probably 30, 40 minutes. So I'm like, okay, I'll just stay up. And it was like 11:15. I'm like, Tim?
I did not mean to.
I was like, okay,
a lot of babies.
I know. And I was like, okay, Tim's not going to get on, but it's 11:15, so I'm just going to stay up for another 45 minutes. And I'm going to tell a story about MKX in a little bit, but I ended up staying up for MKX, or MK 11, not MKX. But anyway, so I ended up playing all the way up until Mortal Kombat 11 release. I played Devil May Cry 5. I had like 4 missions left, and they were all short. There was only one that I actually had to travel. The other 3 out of the 4 were just straight boss fights.
Right.
Which were all chaotic and crazy.
And fun. I mean, a lot of fun there, yeah. Right?
The only thing I would say is I think I gave it a 9 out of 10. I think it's an amazing game. I've talked about it before, so I'm not going to go over it again. But I think gameplay-wise, it's one of the funnest I've ever had with this style of game. My thing is the story kind of became predictable, and I don't even know. I know the DMC franchise, but I don't know it like inside and out. But I wouldn't say I don't know if they were really going for some type of twist, but I was like, okay, I know this is gonna happen. Okay, I know that's gonna happen, and it happened.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that moment that there's someone who interrupts a major boss fight towards the end before yet another boss fight. I thought that was cool, but yes, I'm cool with you. It wasn't necessarily shocking, but it was cool. I liked the way that they introduce essentially a whole new layer of fighting style. Like, here's a brand new one. So I liked that.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job. I still think this is an amazing game. It's easily the best Devil May Cry game. It will definitely – I don't think it will be my game of the year, but it will definitely be in my top 10.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about it at the end of the year for sure. Yeah. It's so good.
I would like to replay it. I don't know. I played it on PC, and then I own it on Xbox One. So if I replay it, I'll probably play it on Xbox One and just continue that playthrough because I'm already in like mission 5 or 6 on Xbox One. But it's very good. So if anybody is sitting on the fence, go ahead and wait for a sale because you waited this long. But get it when it's on sale. Even if it's just $40, get it. You're getting your money's worth. There's plenty. First of all, the game's actually pretty long. It's 20 missions. Yeah. I don't think that's a spoiler. I'm sorry if that's a spoiler, but it's not.
I mean, by the time you get to like mission 17, you know you're getting towards the end.
Yeah. It's about 20 missions, and you're averaging about, with the shorter missions, because there are some shorter ones in there, it's probably 30, 40 minutes per mission. So you're looking at a 10 to 15 hour campaign.
And that's if you don't go back and replay anything, because they give you grades at the end, like how good was your fighting, and did you collect everything. There's plenty of replay value for those.
Yeah, and there's like side stuff. There's little areas to explore, so you can take your time. I rushed it more towards the end because I was like, I just want to beat the game.
I only found one of the challenge areas. When you have to map what is it? You have to somehow match up.
I was doing
The
that for
visual.
every mission until like the 6th or 7th one, and I was like,
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of these challenge levels you can go fight, which is cool.
Yeah, so those are hidden, and you can always look them up if you can't find them, and then find them, and then when you beat them, you get rewarded handsomely. And that's the other thing, is this game overwhelms you with the amount of like leveling up. And when I say leveling up, I'm not talking about level 12. I'm talking about leveling up your character as far as unlocking new moves, especially Dante. Holy crap, Dante has like 30 things, and they just keep unlocking. I'm like, you're gonna give him another weapon?
Like when they give him the motorcycle, I thought, okay, here comes like one motorcycle riding level or something. Like Bayonetta has a motorcycle riding level, but that's not what it was at all. It legitimately becomes your next weapon set. I mean, stuff like that was just nuts.
And then it just keeps unlocking more.
I liked the crazy of Devil May Cry 5. That's why I liked it so much. Is it's so much fun to play, but it's just over the top. It's just crazy. The powers that are out there.
And I'm not really the type that likes over the top. Like I'm all into. I have a crazy sense of humor and stuff like that, but I don't like over the top games. I usually find myself being drawn to more serious games. But I like that they embraced it. They have this like serious universe. Like, hey, everything's gonna get destroyed. Demons are coming. Like, all of that's serious, but it's all the acting and just the way the characters act. They're like, hey, things are going to shiz, but let me crack a joke and then bust out.
Yeah, they're always smack talking the bosses before they fight them, and it's I think it's very campy, but it knows it and it doesn't try to hide it, and I love that. I think that's great.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'll cut it off there. I think it's an amazing game. If it's on sale, definitely buy it. Yeah. It's worth it. The other game that I was able to complete. Now, this one I got hooked on. Like as soon as I started, I didn't stop. I didn't go back to Devil May Cry. I didn't go back to the Division. I didn't go back to anything until I beat this game. And that was Borderlands Game of the Year Edition, which kind of surprises me. Like I was excited that it was releasing, but I figured my excitement would be I'll play for an hour and then I'm done. Like, hey, I got my, nostalgia and now I'm good. Because I've played Borderlands, I want to say I've beat it 3 or 4 times. I really don't know because I was unemployed at the time it released and I just played with friends and we played it a lot. And so I don't know how many times I beat it. But I will say this, coming back to it, and I soloed this one. I never soloed it before, I don't believe. So I only played one time with randoms, and that was when I explained it on the podcast that one of my missions got stuck, which it's still there telling me to turn it in, a level 2 mission. But I
so annoying. That's just sitting there on your menu list.
I'll tell you why it is annoying, and it's not just it's there. It's because after you complete like an objective or a mission, it auto goes to that mission to turn it in. So if I'm not paying attention, I'll start going towards that mission, and I'm like, oh, you switched to that mission, you dumb game. I don't need to go to that mission because I can't turn it in. So it's just a little pet peeve, but it is annoying. The thing I'm grateful for is that when it happened, I was like a level 11 or 12, which is not too far in, but it's not level 2. I'm just glad it didn't break my game and go, well, you can't progress in the story because you never turned the story mission in, because it was a story mission that I needed to turn in. Yeah. So I'm glad.
That's about the point that I got to before I said, see, for me, I got my nostalgia fix. I remember that game. It was a lot of fun. Highly recommend it for folks who love it and have played it, or if you've never played it, this is the time to jump in and play it. But I wasn't motivated to play it all the way through. But I can totally see why someone would. I mean, it holds up, man. Borderlands is fun.
Yeah, everything was fun. There was nothing. There's some things that feel a little archaic, the driving and stuff like that. But overall, I felt like I was playing a first-person shooter design like Diablo. Like after playing Diablo a good amount, I was like, oh, I totally see why people, compare these games. They don't play alike, but they're designed the same with the amount of loot, and you just become obsessed with getting, there's millions of guns, so you just want to find the gun that you like.
And just go out and there's swarms of enemies and go for it.
Yeah. So it was great going back to it. Totally enjoyed it. In fact, it hyped me more for Borderlands 3. I'm planning on beating Borderlands 2 with Jesse. We actually reconnected probably a week and a half ago, and we played a couple of missions. So I think he even said we're like one mission away. But the problem is it's one level higher than us, which in Borderlands, good luck.
By the way, speaking of which, while we're here on the air, before I forget, do you have the Cash App? Can I send you that money to help for Borderlands 3 on the Cash App?
I don't know what the Cash App is.
Wow, how old are you?
I have PayPal.
All right, text me the email address for PayPal.
I told you, just do that Rakuten. They were doing 15% off. Just buy a $50 card for $42 from them, and then give me the code.
I've done that before. I'll do that again. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's why I texted you, you piece of shizit.
I don't read your texts.
I understand, honey. Yeah, you're totally my wife. He's talking to me again. Block. But anyway, so just send me a code. But I definitely enjoyed it. It hyped me up more for Borderlands 3, and then, like I said, I'm probably a mission away from Borderlands 2, finishing that, and then I kind of want to play Borderlands pre-sequel. Is it realistic that I'll play it? Well, I honestly, I don't think I was going to beat Game of the Year. I don't know if I will, just because now we're hitting, I think, games that I'll actually play through. And that's where I'll lead into, since I've talked about the 2 games I beat, Mortal Kombat X. So I got a pretty cool story with Mortal Kombat X. Or, gosh, 11. I keep saying X. It's 11.
Mortal Kombat 11 came out today, technically, but last night you apparently stayed up till midnight to give it a shot.
Yeah, some douchebag was supposed to record with me. So Mortal Kombat 11 came out, but before it came out, I pre-ordered on Xbox. I just pre-ordered the $60 version. I didn't do the premium version, and then I decided I wanted the premium version. But I also wanted Borderlands 3's $100 version. So I decided to cancel my Xbox version or copy. Again, this is all digital. So I canceled the $60 copy to buy the PC version, which I got discount. I got it for $70 for the $100 version. So that's a really good discount. And so I was like, oh, cool. I'll just play it on PC, because more than likely, as big of a Mortal Kombat fan as I am, Mortal Kombat 10, all I did was beat the story, maybe did a couple things after that, and I was done. I didn't do anything else. I didn't fight online. I didn't go through the towers. I think I was kind of burnt out, because I put so many hours into Mortal Kombat 9. That's my favorite one. And I was just like, this is good, but it's not at Mortal Kombat 9's level. So that was my thinking, is I don't really want to pay. I want the characters and stuff. I don't really want to pay for $100 for this game that I'm probably just going to beat the story mission, maybe come back and play the extra characters when they release, but be done with it. So I got the refund. I saw the $60 credited back. And this is the other game I'm going to talk about. I actually used the $60 to buy World War Z. That was the only reason why I was willing to buy it. I watched a video review on it, and I was like, this looks legit, and I have the currency. I'm going to buy it. So I bought World War Z and a few other things with the $60 that I got back from Mortal Kombat 11. So I have the PC version bought. I've refunded my Xbox. Well, I noticed whenever I would go online, like on an internet browser, and I would go to xboxlive.com, it kept telling me you own Mortal Kombat 11. Like, you can, because I was just testing it. Like, hey, can I pre-order this? Or if I decide to buy the premium version, can I do it? And it was not letting me do the $60 version. It was saying, you already own this. Would you like to download it? I'm like, okay. So then I was like, I'll just wait till I go home and go on my Xbox. So I go on my Xbox. I'm like, okay. I go to the store, and first of all, I have the game downloaded. I'm like, I go to the store. You own this game. I'm like, okay. I guarantee you when it unlocks, when I go to play the game, it's going to boot me to the store, because I believe that happened with like Crackdown 3. I bought Crackdown 3. I pre-ordered it, I canceled it, and then when I tried to jump into it because it looked like I owned it, it booted me to the store to buy it. So I was expecting that. Midnight came, and I'm like, oh, this game's going through. And I just kept waiting, and it went all the way through, and I was like, okay, let me go in the story. And I started playing the story mode, and I played for like an hour, and then I played a little bit tonight. So I own it. So I got Mortal Kombat 11 for free on the Xbox One X, and then I have my premium version on PC as well. So I'm all set. I'm all Mortal Kombat out. I got it all. But I will say this to talk about the game. I played, like I said, probably 45 minutes of the story. So far, granted, I'm not far in, this is really, really good. They even have, and I'm not going to spoil it, something happened that I was actually internally cheering for. I was like, please do this. Please do not fake that you're going to do this. Please do this. Like, you need to do this. My inner Game of Thrones is coming out. Like, do this. Please do it. And so I think they did it, unless they do, 2 hours later into the story, this reverses itself. But I am really impressed with how quality the cutscenes are. And I gotta say, while Mortal Kombat 9 and 10 are top notch when it comes to fighting, for some reason I'll have to go back to 10 and try it. But 11 feels super smooth. Like, it feels like as soon as you touch the button, it responds. It's really quick. It's 60 frames per second. On the Xbox One X, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful on my PC. The game is the best looking fighter I've ever seen. The lighting, the sound quality, everything is top notch. These guys absolutely nailed it. And here's the cool thing about this game, even if you're not into fighters. First of all, if you like campaigns, it's worth playing. Like, for instance, Tim, you now have access to it for free. You don't have to pay any money.
Yay.
I know you're not into fighters, and while I could totally get why you wouldn't play like Soul Calibur 6, because even though it had a campaign, the campaign is not like Mortal Kombat. This feels like something you would like. It doesn't feel like a fighter. Yes, you're going to end up fighting, but it feels like you're playing a story-driven game with some action in between, like you would do like DMC5. But instead of like being in an arena fighting a bunch of enemies, you're just fighting one enemy in front of you. And the cool thing is you can select the difficulty level. So if you have no interest in getting good at Mortal Kombat 11, thank God this is not a From Software game. You can then turn it on very easy to make all the noobs happy. And you can just fly through it. Very easy. They might beat you up if you're that bad, but for real, you have to just stand there and be like, please hit me. But you can fight through and just watch the cutscenes. I think it's worth it so far. Again, I'm only an hour in. And if you don't understand the plot, it doesn't really matter, because I can tell you right now their goal is to reboot this thing again. I can tell that's what they're doing. The thing I would say that's so impressive about Mortal Kombat as a big fan is this is the 11th entry, and they keep getting better. I mean, how many times can you say that?
That's not always true, though. Some of their middle ones were notoriously bad. Right?
I'm saying since 9, they just keep getting better.
That's fair. Yeah.
Like, Mortal Kombat 1 was decent. Mortal Kombat 2 was amazing.
2 is a favorite, right? Just like Street Fighter 2.
Yeah. 3 was good, but it was a drop-off. 4 was terrible. 5 was, I liked it. The only disappointment is I only had one fatality per character, but I thought it was a reboot to how they fought and everything. It did an amazing job. 6 was good. It was just basically 5, just done better. 7 was stupid. 8 was dumb because it was like Mortal Kombat versus DC. That was dumb. Mortal Kombat 9 was a reboot. It was amazing. It's my favorite. It replaced Mortal Kombat 2. And then Mortal Kombat 10 was an improvement over Mortal Kombat 9. I just personally didn't like it. And then so far, Mortal Kombat 11 just is taking everything that you've gotten used to since Mortal Kombat 9 with the story-driven campaign and just done it better. The voice acting is high quality. The dialogue seems great. it doesn't seem cheesy. Like I read one review, they were like, everybody's amazing except Sonya Blade, which is done by Ronda Rousey. And even Ronda Rousey, I was like, I feel like you're kind of nitpicking because I don't feel like she's that bad. I don't think she's great, but I wasn't like, oh, you're terrible. But maybe I was looking for her to be terrible, and she
maybe.
wasn't.
Yeah, maybe they set it up for you that way. Let me ask you this. So the main reason I'm not interested in Mortal Kombat, there's two main reasons. The biggest one is that I'm just not into fighters. So we've talked about this before, right? Fighting games is one of those genres that's just not my thing. I've tried plenty in the past. My curiosity at some point might say it's sitting right there available for me. Maybe I'll give it a whirl. Because I think with you installing it, it installed on my machine automatically. So I'm pretty sure it's sitting there ready to use. So my curiosity might get the best of me. But we talked about this actually a couple of years ago when Doom came out. And I ended up being proven wrong that the kind of gory violence of Doom where you're smashing demons to bits actually didn't bother me when I started playing it. I thought it would because I knew it was notoriously gory and stuff. Yeah. But because of their fantasy, weird demon creatures, I don't know, it just didn't bother me. With Mortal Kombat, I've never, even back in the day, I was always kind of squeamish and grossed out by the fatalities. I was like, that's not my thing. I feel like now they've gone to such an extreme. Like that's the thing people care about. Hey, how can I rip his spine out and then tie it around his neck and then make his family watch while I choke him or whatever weird.
Actually, I'm the opposite of what you're saying. While yes, I get what you're saying about they're going extreme with them, I actually feel like they put less weight on fatalities because they used to try to keep them a secret because they knew that was the selling point and they didn't want to ruin it for anybody. Now, whenever they introduce you to a character, like here's the fatality. Yeah. And then as soon as the game released, IGN's like, here's all the fatalities.
Yeah, here's one video with all the fatalities.
Yeah. Go. So they don't hide them anymore. And so I feel like, yes, it's still a draw. Like if Ed Boon came out and said, we're releasing Mortal Kombat 12 that will have no fatalities, I'd be like, I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah, people would not like that.
Because that's just, it's linked. Like you can't get away from that. Like, you have to have that. That's like your favorite metal band coming out and saying we're doing opera.
We're doing all ballads. No, so I understand that's the appeal of it. That's one of the big turnoffs for me, as I'm like, it's just not my thing.
What I was going to say to you is I'm telling you to play the story. There is no fatalities in the story. Like when you go fight, they don't say finish him. You just beat them up and they go straight into a cutscene. So it's like I said, it's kind of like Devil May Cry. You're watching this cutscene, or Devil May Cry, you do run. But like you watch this cutscene and then you run to an area and then it closes off and you fight these demons and then you're done and then you run to another area and watch a cutscene or blah, blah, blah. This is the same thing. It's basically a movie that you interact for like 45 seconds to fight, and then there's another cutscene, and then they draw you into fight, and then there's another cutscene, and then you fight. And
the question is the story better than the Mortal Kombat movie? That's the real question.
Nothing's better than the Mortal Kombat movie. Nothing.
Good answer. That's one of the best worst movies ever made.
I mean, if a really hot chick was like, you can have me right now, or you can watch the Mortal Kombat movie, I'm taking the Mortal Kombat movie.
Mortal Kombat. Yeah, exactly. Be like, you can watch with me if you want. Dude, and when Goro comes out with his forearms, oh man, that was hilarious.
So the point I'm trying to make, and maybe you're not going to play it, I get it, we're different. Like I said, you kind of got me interested in Katana Zero and watching the video, but I'm not going to go buy it. So I get it. Like I'm intrigued, and I'm sure you're kind of intrigued. Like Derek's talking about this. It sounds like, it's got a story.
You've got me intrigued on the single player stuff a little bit.
But I think the single player you'll like. Is there going to be gore in the cutscenes? Yes. So far, I haven't seen anything that I was like, okay, this is disgusting. Like you don't play it in front of your kids, but you already know that. Because yes, during the cutscenes they're going to cuss, and not a lot, but they cuss, and then there's potential for gore at any time because the theme of the game is, well, actually the actual intro is gory right off the bat because
I bet
chop off somebody's head.
Yeah.
So there is that, but like you're not, when you play the game, your goal isn't to finish them. Your goal is just to fight them, finish it, and then move on to the next cutscene. And like I said, these cutscenes, I'm not talking like 30 seconds of cheesy dialogue. it's like a movie. Like you're like, okay, like this is like Metal Gear Solid. Like I'm gonna watch this for a while, and then you can kind of sense whether they're moving into this is the character you're gonna control, and so they'll engage with somebody and they'll be like, okay, you're gonna fight this person, and that's
By the
how
way,
they do it.
that reminds me, I meant to say this about Division 2, speaking of cutscenes. There really aren't very many. There's very few cutscenes in that game. But if you're interested in some of the lore of Division 2, like what happened, who these bad guys are, who are we fighting, and why, some people want to know about that.
Yeah.
Go under the progression, go under your main menu, go under progression, then you can find some of the files. It's not that easy to find. Like they're kind of hidden away in your menu system. And then you can find these videos that you unlock as you progress through the game, and it introduces the main villains. They're really high quality. Like, I mean, Ubisoft makes some really good cutscenes in their games. And so it's really high quality cutscenes. They just don't include them in your normal playthrough. You have to go find them. So anyway, for those of you who care about Division 2 story, and you kind of learn why the hyenas are so evil, or the leader of the True Sons and what his motivation is, whatever else. If you're interested in that, the cutscenes are there. But no, you've got me intrigued on the single player stuff with Mortal Kombat. You never know. I appreciate the quality of those games. I appreciate the fact that they're well loved fighting games, that they've kept that franchise alive for so long is truly impressive. And I totally get the draw for folks who, it's the same thing with folks who love like really gory horror movies or something like that. I totally get it. I see the appeal. I understand why people get the rush when watching that stuff. It just doesn't always appeal to me. But I can sometimes be convinced. Like Doom is a good example. I was convinced to give it a shot, and I love Doom. So
yeah, I think you should give it a shot. I will say one last thing that I want to talk about with Mortal Kombat. Again, I haven't explored everything. I mean, I'm never going to play the game online, but so you got this single player story campaign, which is probably, I'm going to guess, is probably 7 to 8 hours. And I know for a fact they have 4 hours of cutscenes. And that's because of the YouTube video.
Dang. Okay.
So that's why I said it's a movie.
It's probably different for who you pick for the single player? Is that not how it goes? Do you not pick
No, the way the story campaign goes is that the game will change from character to character. Gotcha. Like you start as Cassie Cage, and then you fight with her a few times, and then you can tell when you're kind of getting to Cassie's boss fight. And then after you do her boss fight, it'll have a cutscene, and then it'll bring you to another character. You end up probably in the past, like for instance, there's 25 characters in Mortal Kombat 11. You probably end up using 8 to 10 by the time the story mode's done. The rest are probably just in the cutscenes and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So yeah, they force you to use certain characters.
To be fair, my interest level in this is about the same as it was for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Again, I see the appeal, but I think
this is cooler. This is cooler not because I like Mortal Kombat more. It's because there's an actual story. Like they give me a reason to care.
That's cool. I'm glad they did
and then
that.
the other thing I like that I wanted to mention is they have the system, and they've blown it up. But it's kind of the same as Injustice, and there's a lot of RPG elements to this game. There are your skins that you can unlock, which I was looking at the characters. Each character has over 60 skins.
Dang.
And you can unlock them all. You don't have to buy them. And you can also change out.
Ian.
What are you doing, buddy? Turn off the light. Yeah, buddy, you can turn off the light. You can do whatever you want. You run the show, buddy. Okay.
Can you turn off the light? That's the question.
We'll see. That's the fan. Yeah, good job.
He got it. It just went black though. Did he die? Is he okay?
He's okay. He's okay.
Good.
Good night, buddy.
Now you look like a floating head in the dark. That's good.
Yeah. It's that creepy horror movie that you wanted. So anyways, so you can unlock a bunch of like equipment and stuff for your character. And then you can change your character. Like they have 2 already pre-built for you per character. And then you can just create more. And you can make it look the way you want. Like you can change their entire outfit. You can change everything. So there's a lot of like customization in this game. And that's what they were doing in Injustice. I haven't checked to see if it's like Injustice as far as Injustice became like an RPG. where you would unlock higher level equipment, and then you would then be more powerful, or you could take more damage and stuff like that. So they were bringing RPG elements into the fighting games, like heavy. And they did that in Injustice 2. They did a phenomenal job with that. And that was kind of like addicting, where you're like, oh, I want to see how cool I can make Batman look. You know, not just change his color, but like change how he completely looks. Yeah. And so that's the same thing with Mortal Kombat, which I absolutely love, because even though I think Mortal Kombat has some of the coolest character designs, and I think they did a phenomenal job with this one.
They're very creative with those.
I love the fact that I get the freedom to change it to the way I like it, and even change the colors and stuff like that.
Can you share them? Like if you make an awesome one, you can share it with people? That
I don't know. I haven't looked into that. But that's awesome. I would say this game is a definite day one buy. It's reviewing real well. Even if you're not a fighter fan, then don't pay $60. Yeah. Wait until it's on sale, or wait for the Ultimate Edition, which will have all the characters, everything unlocked. And then definitely spend the $20-$30 on that. But I think this is high quality. I mean, this is no other fighter does this. Like, I thought Soul Calibur 6 was great, but no other fighter does this. They have figured out a way to make these games truly AAA. Like, they really did a good job.
Well, and keep in mind, that's not the only major game this week. So if Derek just sold you on it, of course, go grab MK11. Don't forget also Days Gone drops this week, the next big PlayStation exclusive. I think it comes out on Friday.
Yep, got it pre-ordered. We're ready to go.
So, yeah, give that one a whirl if you're interested in hunting zombies in a big open world. I'm hearing that the reviews on it are pretty good. So we'll see what happens.
Have they released reviews?
Or I guess the preview, I should say the preview, what's the word I'm looking for? Impressions have been positive. But that's happened before.
We'll talk about that next week, because both Tim and I will have access to that game.
Yeah. I'm excited to play it.
I am too. Like, my hope is that, I don't know if it's realistic, my hope is to get through, even though it's short, to get through the Mortal Kombat 11 story, and then be able to focus on Days Gone now that I finished Devil May Cry 5 and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I'm planning on dropping other stuff to play that one when it comes out this weekend. Another one this week that I'm interested in, but you know, it might end up being another one of those games that Tim gets excited about, but then doesn't really play that much. Is next game from Image and Form. The people who made the SteamWorld games have one called SteamWorld Quest. It's a card-based RPG. So they've got an RPG dropping this week as well for the Switch, and probably a few other consoles as well if you're interested in that. So I really enjoyed SteamWorld Dig. I thought it was fun. I thought SteamWorld Dig 2 was amazing. So good. And then SteamWorld Heist was a pretty fun turn-based kind of tactical game. And then now they're jumping into a card-based RPG, which sounds like a lot of fun. I've heard good things about that one as well. So I'll be playing that this week. Like I said, finished up the Division 2, I think. Still playing through Sundered on the Switch, enjoying that. And Katana Zero on the Switch as well. And I know Derek talked a little bit about World War Z a little bit earlier, but I do want to mention that one more time. That is one that he basically said, hey, give this one a shot. It's a lot of fun. So I jumped on. We played some multiplayer. That game's pretty awesome. I mean, there's not a ton of meat to it if you want to jump in and do a big, like Days Gone, okay, a big story, open world, explore, and RPG mechanics. That's not what it's about. It's more of an arcade. Think Left 4 Dead. More of an arcade multiplayer.
It's a third-person Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, and you jump in there, you pick your character, you queue up with other people, and then you just go in there and start playing. And if you're familiar with the World War Z, at least the movie, if not the books or the lore there, you know that these are fast zombies. These aren't the slow-motion ones like from Walking Dead. They can really run, and they come in these gigantic hordes, these huge waves, and they'll just crash through walls and over fences and all this stuff. And it makes for really a lot of chaos and a whole lot of fun, throwing grenades into these just piles of zombies that are trying to climb up after you. And I thought it was fun. I thought it was a good time. And they put some stuff into those levels that was a little surprising. Some little secret corners where if you find the right explosive, you can open a door that then gets you a whole bunch of loot and maybe a new gun for that run or whatever else. And there is some progression there, though. I said not a lot of RPG mechanics, but there is some progression there where you can level up your character. You can change the way I believe you can change some outfits, but it's mostly about the guns, where you can upgrade your guns, get a silencer perhaps if you want, or other add-ons to those guns, which is great. So It's a lot
Yeah,
of
I've been
fun.
disappointed that I haven't been able to play it. Like I had because I finished Devil May Cry 5 and Borderlands, and then Mortal Kombat 11 came out. I've only gotten to play it for like an hour,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was one of those where I was like surprised. Like obviously, I bought it with the intentions of and hopes of it being good, but I was actually surprised. Like, okay, I really like this.
Yeah.
This is really fun.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. Like, I'm glad Jesse White got it. Obviously, you have access to it. I know Jesse's son has access because of Jesse. So there's potential of playing with 3 or 4 people consistently, and that's what I was looking for because that's where I had the most fun with Left 4 Dead.
Mhm.
Is because not Left 4 Dead 2, but Left 4 Dead, I had a crew and we played it all the time.
And to be fair, this is not a cakewalk of a game. We played on the easiest possible difficulty, and while we had some success, we finished a few levels. We also had times where we really struggled, and our whole team got wiped. So,
and that's the thing is when you fail, you fail. Like it's not, oh well, we got to this checkpoint, we get to start over at this check. Nope, you're done.
yeah, it's just think of like any other MMO type thing.
And
if your whole team gets wiped, you got to jump back.
And you get currency, and so as you go through, if you're successful, you obviously get more currency, and if you do certain things, you get more. But if you fail, you get a little bit of currency. What's good about this currency is it allows you to level up your guns and add attachments and all that stuff. And when you're able to unlock new guns and stuff like that, that makes your character more powerful, which then allows you to play at higher difficulty levels. So that's where, like, to me, I can see the hook. Like, hey, I want to keep unlocking better guns, and then I want to challenge while I'm doing it. And so you just keep playing through these levels.
Yeah, it was a surprise one for me that it was that fun. I truly hope we get a chance to play together again. It'd be great to time it out with Jesse and his sons. We can get 4 of us on the same team, or anyone else who might be listening who might buy it. Someone like Rob, maybe, who buys it and never plays it. I don't know.
Yeah, Rob, he's great. He's perfect.
We'll see.
And here's the thing. I was shocked. Like, I think, obviously, the Xbox One X is a great system, but I was shocked at how good this system, this game looked. And keep in mind, it's a $40 game, so it's not it's what they consider a budget title. So it's $40 on consoles, $35 on PC. The game looks really good on Xbox One X. It runs at 30 frames per second. Now, that might not sound amazing because you're like, that's a powerful console and they're only doing 30 frames per second. But keep in mind, you have 4 players. So even if I'm playing with nobody, I still have 3 other AI guys running around with me. And you have swarms of zombies. We're not talking like 5 to 10.
No, like hundreds at a time.
Hundreds, and they're all moving fast paced. And you can tell that they cut out some of the animation. Like they aren't like super detailed on how they move. They're just like they all run the same way, and it's all real quick. But
it's overwhelming. Like those first moments, you're like, oh my word, how am I gonna stop this? Yeah.
So
no, I'm with you. I think it looks pretty good. It's not gonna make your jaw drop or anything, but it does
really good looking for what they're
when you consider that it's online and it's more of a budget type of game. It's made by Saber Interactive, who does a lot of budget type of games. It's impressive. I'm with you there. Like it won't blow you away with the human character models or whatever else, but it's fine. It also won't make you go, oh, this is ugly. Like it's fine. It looks pretty good. So I recommend that one, especially if you've got some buddies to play with. World War Z is a pretty fun Left 4 Dead type of game, except it's third person. So it's not. Keep that in mind too, if you're interested.
Yeah.
So
I would prefer in this case to be first person.
Yeah, you were saying that while we were playing. Like if this was first person, I think it would be perfect.
But I'm, as somebody who genuinely likes third person over first person, it's still fun. I just think, and the shooting's really good. I don't know if you talked about it while I was gone. The shooting mechanics are really good.
Shooting feels good. The guns are all pretty fun to use. There's some good variety there. Yeah.
Great game. I'll be talking about it more in the future because I definitely will. Even with all these releases, Days Gone, Mortal Kombat 11, I'm still going to play this.
Yeah. No, I'm very excited about that one too. Yeah. Other than that, I do want to mention this too. I've heard other shows talk about it too. I just think it's funny that Xbox proudly announced their new all digital version of the Xbox One S, which, by the way, I was just now because I just bought that Xbox game card on how do you say it, Rakuten or whatever that website is. Mm-hmm. They're also selling an Xbox One X One S with 2 games, and you can get it for $220, brand new. And now the Xbox One all digital version has no disc drive at all. So you would think, wow, this is probably going to be like $150, but nope, it's $250. So it's not that good of a deal. Sorry. Even if it were $200, that's not a great deal. I mean, you need to get this thing down to $150 or less for that to be a steal, or make it the X, right? Make it the best.
Yeah, that's what I don't
console.
understand.
But
I don't
whatever.
understand.
I'm not sure why they're making that move. It's not a super smart one.
Well, I guess I understand. Like, I don't understand the pricing. I'm not going to justify the pricing, but the S probably, I guarantee you, sells better than the X. Still.
Well, yeah. I mean, having a optical disc free, digital only version, I could see the appeal of that in some ways. They probably have some analytics on how much more buy digital than physical, and that's great. I'm sure it's going really well. But if you're not going to make it the X, then you got to make that price really low. I mean, make it a deal that's impossible to say no to.
I mean, even if you made it the X, you would only drop it like $50, but you would still drop it.
Yeah, exactly. But whatever, that's their call. Maybe it'll sell. Who knows? But yeah, we've got obviously a lot of games we're playing right now. We're looking forward to some of the ones coming out this week. Days Gone being the biggest one, and then we're into May. I mean, then we're already getting close to E3 again, which is crazy. So
yeah, and there's some good games in May, like Rage 2 and so on. So
Rage 2 looks great. Yeah, I'm excited for Rage 2. Yeah, I am excited for that one. It'll be, although now that we know about Borderlands 3 and now that we've both kind of jumped back into the Borderlands world a little bit, I wonder what we're going to think about Rage 2. I'm curious because it does seem to, at least visually and stylistically, borrow from that type of setting a little bit.
We're going to be sad that we can't play it co-op. I think it's going to be like, oh, this game would be perfect co-op. But we'll see. Maybe there's some reason why they've gone single player only.
Yeah, possibly. All right, but I think that does it for us this time around. Thank you guys for your patience and us being late on an episode, but appreciate you listening. Derek, thanks for staying up late, taking time. You can get back to MK11 or whatever as you fall asleep.
No, I'm going to bed. I wanted to play Mortal Kombat, but I'm like, no, I'm going to bed.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you.
All right. Good night.
Who is your daddy? I am the father.
You fathers will understand.
My father taught me many things.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?